Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Ace and I got another SimCity video here for you, as my previous SimCity video was basically a test of this new format and it was much enjoyed, so I'm going to try to improve upon it. Feedback you can enter in the comment section below. And I am going to play a little bit more SimCity because, as you may know, my Devil May Cry playthrough has come to an end. I'll put a link for that as well in the description box below if you want to check out the ending. It's quite enjoyable, so I highly recommend you do so. But until the new games that I want to play come out, for example BioShock Infinite, which was a game I was already interested in playing. However, a lot of you guys have also suggested to me to play that game in my second single player playthrough, so I may very well end up doing that. But until then, I have to have something else in addition to TF2 to tie me over, because I don't want to just play TF2 on my channel, otherwise, you know, I might burn out on that. So SimCity is still a thing, and as you can see, I've also changed my camera in the game mode to the top right instead of the bottom left, I mean. Because in the bottom left it was blocking a few things, but now on the top right it's blocking pretty much nothing of worth. So I guess that kind of works out as well. As I stated, improving upon the format. And I'm going to start a new region to basically build paradise in several squares. As my previous was just a bit of a test environment for the new format. So now we're going to go and play SimCity for real. Or whatever you can do with it. So I do like to play SimCity in a different way that some people like to play it. I like to build visual pleasing cities. Now this comes with a little bit of an OCD problem, what I sometimes have in building games. So we'll find out if that's going to work out just fine. So I feel like I should probably not go with something in an open area, even though this is probably one of my favorite spots to build in. I don't have to worry about anything other than just building, well, just building beautifully and just making sure my water is alright. So I'm actually going to think I might actually start here. You know what, we're just going to start off with paradise. Why not? Gotta go big or go home, right? Or go big or go home, that's the proper sentence. I think. I don't know. We'll go with it. You know what I mean, right? You guys know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? You're picking up what I'm throwing down? Alright, so it has a bit of a nice curve to it, which is nice because I do like to have something else than just full grid mode. The problem is with full grid mode, as I go a little bit to the most efficient way to build in SimCity is full grid mode. Basically just building large squares with enough space in between the roads for either one giant skyscraper or two, depending on how you build. Probably two. And that's boring. It may look nice from a distance, but it doesn't visually please me. As for example, more of a city that with a little bit more character, maybe because of the mountains or just the way you build your roads. It will cut in your efficiency, of course, but that's just a risk that you are willing to take, or that you have to be willing to take. Otherwise, you know, why would you play a game like this if you're not going to build visually pleasing things? So I'm not entirely sure if I want to use this curve to my advantage. I may actually want to do that though, because then I can use this as a blueprint. I think I'm going to use this as blueprint, so I can then use that to build upon it. So we basically get a city with a nice curve, which should give me enough space as well for some serious skyscraping. However, before we can do that, we first have to find out where the wind is blowing. I think it's going to be blowing up north. Yes, well, I'm assuming this is north from my current perspective. It may just very well be east. I don't know, it's just going towards the edge here, which is quite nice, because then I don't have to worry about it blowing into different cities if I build more in this region. Let's see where the water is. Where's that? You know what, I'm just gonna go water mode. There you go. There's a lot of water here as well. So water in the back here as well as here in the front. So I might just end up building... As this is going to be paradise, I don't have to worry about industry. I'm not going to build any industry, which is going to hurt me in the early game of SimCity. But if I do it correctly and start building industry in, let's say, a specific designed area in this region, I can just ship all my people there. You know, sell people to the other cities if it were. Slavery at its finest. Now, I'm always a little bit indecisive. So I'm just gonna wait until my city gets approved so I can start building a few things. I am connected to the highway. Come on. Doesn't look like they really are giving me the opportunity to build. So I'm just gonna have to build the roads first then. Now, as I stated, I have to probably find a good way to grid this without having to worry about having too little space. I think this is sufficient. But will it be enough for the curve? Let me see. Yeah, that's the problem if you have an initial curve here that is not connected to the grid. However, it does show, the grid does show exactly how I want it. But as you can see, it doesn't fully connect accordingly. So you have to be very careful with how you do that. By the looks of it, sometimes you just have to be a little bit free drawing-ish. That looks pretty much like a straight line, so I'm just gonna grid it here. That looks respectable, I suppose. And with respectable, I mean it looks like hell. I don't like this here. This doesn't look correct one way or another. See, I'm pretty OCD when it comes to these things. So I'm gonna cut it out here. Alright, I'm spending always a lot of money on roads because you know, everything has to be perfect. And that looks a lot more smooth. That looks a lot smoother, which is once again more visually pleasing. At least I find it to be more visually pleasing. Now, I don't want to necessarily connect these roads from the inside, otherwise I might get a little bit too much of a traffic problem. However, I do want to build stuff here. So I'm just going to start with a small road. And probably build a bit of a grid-spaced area, I mean. Can I do that? I don't know if I want to do that. We'll find out. Right now it's still a little bit concerned that it's... I'm a little bit concerned about the fact that it's not really connected to the highway. Draw a road from the highway. Looks like we are a little bit bugged in the city right now. City funny, I remove the city from the highway and suddenly it's connected to the highway. I feel like there's a bit of a problem there. However, we're just gonna accept and go with it, otherwise we'll never get things done. So I do want to have a bit of a straight line here so I can build, let's say, the town hall here. Just because it looks funny. But I probably also should start building a little bit of residential. Just so that people can move in. And also, I knew there was a lot of water here. It doesn't really matter where I put this initial water tower, because I'm going to try and get the water pump as well as sewage, the sewage one. The sewage treatment plant as quickly as I can. Because I don't want to have a problem with water, as some of you know, alright? Well, there's not a lot of wind, so I don't really want to go with wind power plant. I, however, do want to be clean. So I may very well end up with going with solar power. So I'm going to take a bond, add another bond. And now I have to decide where I want my solar power to be. There we go. We can always remove this road and then just build on the side here, which should give us enough space for solar power. I can always like increase the nuclear, but that's always going to be a little bit risky. So we have water and of course the power plant. We just need sewage. So I'm just gonna try. This is gonna be a temporary dirt road, just so that I don't have to worry about my citizens being all kinds of nuts. So that's looking good. I just have to connect these roads as well, which means I do need to get my corner on that I had planned. Alright. I have to get used to the fact that the curve is not directly in the middle. So that should do the trick. You may ask yourself why you're trying to do that. Well, because I want to be in the middle of the curve-ish. Around the middle of the curve. And then get a straight line. So these two roads are now officially connected. So I can build more residential. And this probably won't give up any space for buildings. So can I actually add a little bit of stuff in there? Looks like I have enough space to actually build a park of some sort here. Which is exactly what I want. So there will be some small houses, but I will demolish them at some point anyway. Don't really care much for them. They are but a nuisance. Them ants, y'all. Alright, so we have everything pretty much sorted. And now we need to figure out the blueprint in a little bit more detail. So I actually figured out that we might have a little bit too much space in here. Not entirely sure if that will give me skyscrapers on both sides. It might just be enough. It might just not be enough. We'll find out. However, we do need to get some commercial ASAP. Otherwise people might get a little bit cranky. Unfortunately, it appears that my beloved grid... Oh no, there's my beloved grid. And I do feel like that I might have to actually engage myself in a little bit more bond accepting. As I do find out that my money is, well, not going to be sufficient enough. That's the problem with avenues, unfortunately. Let me see what I can do. This is a big part of thinking about the game. You have to like pre-plan everything. I kind of went into the dark here, like I had a bit of an idea about making sure that I had a curve in my city because of the characteristic of a curve, but, well, you know, that's not really going in with a plan, I would assume. However, I do have apparently another bond that I can take. I thought I took 2 bonds. I'm not really sure where I messed up, but, you know, I'm just going to accept it and take it for granted. Maybe the game finally bugged out a little bit in my favor. Who knows? In addition to that, I also have the ability to take a town hall, which I will definitely do after I make my second line curve. There you go, thank you. Just gonna do it in pieces so I know the curve is gonna be somewhat respectable. Oh, come on, game. Do not let me down. Game, you have let me down. Why must I let me down, game? Alright. The curve already starts here, actually? I'm not sure. Just gonna go with it. Angle too sharp? Hell no. Alright, it's pretty much those 2 pieces that make it annoying. And this looks a lot better than the first try I had with my first angle. So, it's looking good. Gonna keep drawing these 2 straight forward. And I'm actually gonna take out the middle part. Now, the problem that I will have is the fact that this is going to be probably more crowded than I want to. This little piece here, it's a really bad thing to do, to have a piece like this in a road, especially if it's your main road. However, I can just cut this off if I wanted to, if it really becomes a problem, as my city connects to both sides anyway. But we do need some commercial as well as a town hall. So there you go, there's the town hall. People suddenly will become more happy, I believe. There you are. Look at all those satisfied citizens. As I will now also build a hell of a lot of residential. Am I going to use the inner curve? Or am I going to... I could do the inner curve. I'm just not sure if I want to. Also, I can start removing the dirt road pieces by pieces, of course. Do I really want that much residential, though? It's kind of the question. I could. Just gonna start with 1 line first. Because it's a hell of a lot of residential. Gonna add a green line up here. Some residential zoning. And slowly but steady this should take off quite nicely. So you guys can see basically my basic idea. We also have the ability to connect to a train station here, which is definitely something I want. I'm not entirely sure if we can connect to a ferry. I believe we can. Or here. Which is definitely something I want to do. Because this is going to be paradise. There's going to be gambling. There's going to be tourism. And all things like that which will draw a lot of people in. At least that's the philosophy I'm going with. I'm not sure if it's actually going to work, but you know, details, right? Now, if I later decide to increase the amount of buildings that can go in here, I can actually basically just curve it correctly, but just imagine this curve was correctly. And then I don't have to connect it to here, but I can just connect it here to this part, basically. So I don't have to worry about the traffic clogging here on the avenue, but still have a lot more pieces. It's probably going to clog anyway, because a lot of more people will live there, but it's but a detail. So we have a nice amount of citizens coming in. Of course, industrial is taking off as well, at least the need for industrial, but that is to be expected. I don't want to connect these two to the road. That's absolutely a bad idea. And I also want to make sure that I have enough space for my solar panels. Just going to connect them with a dirt road. Feel a bit sorry for the houses here, but what you gonna do, right? So, looks pretty alright. There's no giant skyscrapers yet, so what do I need next? Garbage. Garbage is probably a very good idea. Now I want to turn it away, of course, from the citizens and such, otherwise they might get a little bit angry with me. So I might actually want to do another row of commercial at one side, so I can then put the dirty stuff behind there, so nothing really gets annoyed with the residentials. So maybe I just want to add another curve. Now you may already see a problem here, because if I add another curve, the town hall has to either be moved up or I have to build around the town hall. I'm probably going to build around the town hall. Or something along those lines. But we'll see. Don't have enough money to build a nice giant curve anyway. So I just have to make sure that everything is going to be just fine. Can I build another boat? Oh yeah, I can also increase taxes, which I always do at the beginning. Like 11% is something you can do. I just don't really recommend it, because a lot of people already start to complain with 11% taxes. But 10% is always solid. Nobody really complains with that. So I have enough money for trash. So where do I want to put it? Probably want to put it in the corner here anyway, so let's just connect it. I'm gonna connect it on the grid, so if I later decide to change the road up, I know it's gonna be just fine. I cannot build it sideways? Not enough space? Looks like there will be enough space to build it sideways. As you can see, I can already upgrade my my town hall, which I will definitely do. No, I cannot build it sideways. Funny. I thought I was able to. Because I want to have it at the edge of my my city. So I'm just gonna add. It's a dirt road, so I can afford it to just mess about a little bit. They really don't want me to build it sideways, unless I made the mistake of not. Yeah, I made that mistake. Fair enough. Alright. There you go. We also have garbage now. Am I going to build around the town hall? Yes, I am. So upgrade it. I don't have enough money to actually build an upgrade, so I'm not going to do that. As you can see, commercial is taking off as well, or it's going down, the commercial demand. So I think it's time for some parks to make people happy. Now, it's going to be paradise. So I'm going to have a lot of tourism. So do I want to have medium or high wealth? I want a combination of both. So can I place these in here? No, that's just a little bit too unfortunate. I can build these, that's good. Welcome to curves, where nothing really goes correctly. And apparently they don't like me doing this. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Maybe there's a formal I can put down. No, the roads are not really happy with me. However, this should be enough anyway. You don't want to put down too many parks, or else it just becomes a little bit too expensive. But just for the sake of visual pleasingness, gonna add a few trees in here. Yeah, I can. Just add a few trees. Boom. Bit of green in the city. Why not, right? We're just gonna ignore the fact that there's a forest behind my city, but details. So as you can see, mansions are slowly being built. Looking good. So what shall we do next? I do want to build my utilities as quickly as I can, but I feel like we should build more roads first to make sure that we have our basic blueprint completely finished, which is very important. So that's what I'm going for right now. I am on cheetah speed, luckily enough. Oh, come on. Really, game? Really? You're breaking my town here, man. You're breaking my town. I'm asking for a curve. Thank you. No, curve. Curve. I don't like this. Yeah, that works. No, that's a bit too curved. That's the annoying part of a grid. But luckily enough, you can turn it off. Wow, they really don't want. They really do not like this curve. It's gonna look crooked as hell. I can feel the crookedness from all the way over here. My OCD is like just enraged right now. How? Baby steps then, I guess. Well, we'll take another bond. Why not? We can also borrow a little bit more money right now. I've taken a big bond, which means I can actually pay off 2 bonds. There you go. I still have money left. Yes, I borrowed money to pay borrowed money. Economy! Yay! Unfortunately, this road here is still not placed correctly, so I may just want to have to build something along the lines of here, perhaps? Can I do that? Will there be enough space? Now I have to sort of measure it correctly. Otherwise it's not going to please me. I want to be visually pleased, you have to understand that. Alright. So I'm just gonna... Oh wait, I can't because... See, I want to remove this one right now. So I don't get road issues. Decisions, guys. I can always put my city after here. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna put my city hall just a little bit further back. I can then remove this one, which is gonna make a lot of people unhappy. But there you go. It almost looks like it was planned, right? It almost looks like it was planned. Annoyingly enough, this is annoying me. Annoyingly enough, this is annoying me. Yep.